Hi everybody, welcome back. First of all, thank you to everybody who has watched our videos, who has liked, shared, subscribed, followed us on Instagram, commented. We appreciate you all, and I've gotten some really good feedback. I got some questions that people want answered, of course. And cut to the chase, Christina. We need to know how to move to Canada. All right, so here it is. Okay, here's a quickie for you guys. Quickie. This is it, guys. So I'm going to summarize how to move to Canada. Now, of course, it's going to be based on my experience. Let's remember, I solemnly swear that I am not an immigration consultant, I'm not an immigration lawyer, or anybody in the immigration consultation profession, okay? This is experience-based information, all right? Are you ready? All right. First of all, it depends on the situation that you are currently in. What is your current state as of this moment? Are you a student? Are you fresh out of university? Have you worked for years and have some experience under your belt? Are you a tradesperson, or do you have like a skill in terms of like carpentry or plumbing or other skills? So I'm going to give you, first of all, of course, my experience. So we all know, if you haven't seen episode 1 and 2, episode 1, part 1 and 2, I came through school. If you haven't seen those episodes, feel free to go check them out. They give you some insight as to my process to come here initially, and it sort of stops there. And of course, later on, I'm going to tell you the whole shebang from start to finish and get into details and massage it and answer more questions. But right now, I'm going to give you a high-level view of how to get to Canada. I was fresh out of university. I had a couple of years experience under my belt, but of course, experience as a university student. Here it is, from start to finish, uninterrupted. Are you ready? Get your pens and go. Just kidding. All right, let's do this. All right. So step 1, of course, apply to school. Get into school, apply for your student visa. Once you get your student visa, go to Canada. Get to Canada, go to school, do your thing. If you go to school for 1 year, at the end of that year, you can apply for what's called a postgraduate work permit. The postgraduate work permit is going to be for as long as your study permit was for, okay? So if you go to school for 1 year, your work permit is going to be 1 year. You go to school for 2 years, your work permit is going to be 2 years, or it can be 3 years. It depends on immigration. But I went to school for 1 year. I got 1 year to work, right? So get a job quick. My school term was 1 school year, which is 2 semesters, but it was consecutive semesters. So from January all the way to August, 8 months. I don't get a summer break, but it's still considered 1 year because it's 1 school year, right? Say you are working now for that 1 year and you're getting your little Canadian experience, right? And the intent is to have enough points for what's next, the express entry invitation to apply. So here is the express entry and what is required of it. Now, the express entry is called an expression of interest for permanent residency in Canada, right? So I'm expressing that I am interested in being a permanent resident. Here's my skill set. Here's what I have. Here's what I have to offer to Canada, of course, right? So for the express entry, it's a point-based system. So there's this thing called a comprehensive ranking score, and you get points for several things. So what I've done is I've gone to the CIC website and I have put in comprehensive ranking system criteria express entry. All right, and they're going to tell you all of the things that accumulates points for you. So first thing is your age, right? You can have a maximum of 110 points as a single person, right? It's different when you come with a spouse, but I'm giving you right now from the perspective of a single person, right? So the older you are, the less points you have. The younger you are, the less points you have. The right in between you are, the maximum points. In between means you're a part of the working labor force age, okay? So after that, you get points for your level of education. So you have masters, you have doctorate, you have PhD, same thing. You have bachelor's, you have a college education, you have a high school education. Of course, the more you have, the more points you get. The higher up you go, the more points you get, of course, right? Then now you have an official language proficiency. Now you have to do an either English or French test in order to go into the express entry pool. Yes, even if you are from an English speaking country. So they're going to test your proficiency in comprehension, reading, writing, and listening and speaking, right? So brush up on your English. Don't take it for granted that because you speak English, you're going to pass. And that's how it works. Then now they're going to give you some points for your Canadian work experience, right? That's the reason you're going to go to school. You're going to come here and you're going to be able to work because you can get at least 80 points for working in Canada. Maximum. Then now they're going to do a combination of what is your English test and what is your highest level of degree. So those two things combined give you some points too, and you can get at least 50 points there. Foreign work experience. Now foreign is anywhere outside of Canada, of course, not Canada. Canada is foreign if you're in Jamaica. Jamaica is foreign if you're in Canada. Okay, so you can get at least 50 points. So if you have a good English test, now everything boils back down to the English test. The English test, I think, can give you so much more points in other areas than just the English test score. So don't take it for granted, right? Because you have English test score, then you have English test plus your educational degree, then you have English test plus your foreign work experience, and then you have English test plus your certificate of qualification for people who are in the trades, right? So people, plumbers, carpenters, all those other trades that I don't know about right now, okay? And then now you can get additional points if you have family of foreign. So if you have a brother or a sister or somebody who is living in Canada who is currently a citizen or a permanent resident, you can get at least 15 points. So if you have a long lost cousin, okay, I don't know if a cousin can work, right? But find some family and see if it works for you, all right? Then now, if you have arranged employment, right? So this is saying that somebody in Canada is already ready to hire you if you are, once you get here, and you can get 200 points for that. And then if the province of Ontario says, you know what, we're gonna take some people from some country, here's an provincial nominee thing, which is called the provincial nominee program. You can get 600 points, all right? So in summary, that's an idea of what the different things that can give you points for, and you can get a maximum of 1,200 points. Now it sounds a lot because of course provincial nominee program is a whole 600 points. There's nothing else right now apart from the provincial nominee or the labor market impact assessment probably that can give you 600 points. When I applied, I had 499 points, just to give you some perspective. So that's 499 out of 1,200, okay? And that is after having worked in Canada, gone to school in Canada, gone to school in Jamaica, whole heap of school, and being the perfect age with the optimum amount of points, okay? Still 499 points. So don't be disheartened if you don't have even 1,000 points or close to 1,200, because 1,200 is the ideal situation. So now you have all these points, and what you do is you submit your application to be entered into a pool. And you're in this pool and everybody's swimming around. Hey, how many points do you have? And how many points do you have? Well, I have 499 points. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I can't wait for them. And then since I see with their rod, they throw the rod out and they grab a bunch of people. Now it's not exactly random just like that, right? It's a case where they said, okay, lucky number 450. So the number that they draw twice a month represents the minimum amount of points that you have to have in order to be invited to apply. So when I submitted my entry into the pool, I had 499 points. And that month, they drew 450 points. So based on that, and I had greater than 450, pretty much, yep. they said, okay, Christina, here is an invitation to apply. Of course, you have to wait for that invitation. So just because you have the amount of points, or just because you have more than the amount of points that they draw, doesn't mean that it's automatic that you are a permanent resident. It's done. You have to still wait for an invitation to apply. So CSC has to send you that letter. Come, apply. Wait for that letter. Once you get that letter, now you prepare your application. I think you have 90 days to apply or to send in your application, your complete application. Within that time, you need to get your police certificate. Don't forget your police certificate. Now, if you watched my first video, you'll know why I've said that. Go watch it. You have to get your medical. You have to get all of your monies together. Now, money is important, okay? How much money you have to show that you are able to come to Canada based on the Immigration Council's standards is very important. Now, when you submit your express entry application to be entered into the pool, you have to say how much money that you have, and how much money you have is going to be based on how many people are you trying to get to Canada. Now, I've just typed in express entry financial requirements. That's all I've typed in, and it's the first thing that comes up. How much money will you need is the subject, and this is straight from the CIC website. One person needs 12,475 Canadian dollars. Two persons, $15,531. So you get your police certificate. I said that already. Medical, money. After your money, and all the other things on that checklist that you're given, right? Then you submit your application. Now, this is probably, for me, was actually the most daunting of the processes that I've been through, just because it was new, and for months you didn't hear anything from them. But I joined an online forum of all the people who submitted the same time as me, and they were like, we haven't heard anything yet. I'm like, praise God. So you submit your application and you just wait, and then after you finish waiting, you wait some more. Like, you have to be patient, all right? And in a couple of months, you'll hear back from them, and they'll be like, okay, we've approved this, we've approved that, we need this, we need that, come to Canada, yay. And then once your application is approved and they request your passport, you go and do your landing. You can do your landing here at an office in Canada, at an immigration office, or you can leave the country and come back and do your landing in the airport. I did my landing here at an immigration office. And then they do their thing. They submit an application, or they submit a request to get your permanent resident card. And then you wait for that in the mail, which is another wait. And then once you have it, boom, you're a permanent resident. Simple, right? Okay, I know it's not as easy as 1, 2, 3, but it's actually not as hard as we might think it is. Now, if you have some experience, you can skip the whole school part and then just join the express entry pool, because you would have had probably more points than I had based on your work experience. And of course, remember, when I had applied, or when I was coming to Canada, the express entry didn't exist, so there wasn't that option. So you can actually work in Jamaica or work in your country for X amount of years and then join the express entry pool. And later on in the series, I'm going to have people on here who did it that way. They didn't go to school here. They just joined the express entry pool. They got invited to apply, and they're here. So I'll attach some links to the description below to help you to, one, you can put in your information and simulate how many points you have right now, right? And it's called a comprehensive ranking score calculator. It'll give you an idea of where you stand right now and how many points you have. I'll also attach the link to the rounds of invitation. So the rounds of invitation is that 2-month draw that the Immigration Council does to say, okay, how many points are we taking today? How many points are we taking today? And you can see a history of how many points have they called in the last couple of months, where are they right now, and what's the highest number of points that they've ever, or the lowest number of points that they've ever called, to give you some perspective as to where you stand. So do your score, go to the comprehensive ranking system to see where you stand. So check the links below. I will add whatever I find is relevant to whatever I've told you right now to help you to get started on where you stand. So I'm here to help you to understand that it's not hard, it's not daunting. So coming up with the money is probably the big chunk of it, but process itself is not hard. Thank you for watching. Please remember to subscribe, share, like, comment, ask some more questions and we can get them answered. But that was to answer the question, walk me through the process. How do I get to Canada? That's a wrap.